Today we are going to be sewing a 2-hole button. To do this, you are going to need a piece of fabric, a button with 2 holes, a small pair of scissors, a toothpick, a sewing needle, and a spool of thread. The first step is to prepare your thread. You want to unravel a length of thread that is about the size of your arm. This seems like a lot of thread, but you want to make sure that you have enough to create a sturdy, stable button without running out of thread halfway through. So after you snip it off of the spool, you're going to create a knot on one of the ends. To make a knot, you first want to lick your finger because that helps grip it and it slides off easier that way. You want to place the thread on your pointer finger and grip it with your thumb. You then wrap the thread around your pointer finger to make like an X right there. So after you wrapped it around to make the X, you are going to push the thread off of your finger with your thumb, and it's going to loop together like that. You grab the other end and you pull, making a knot. Another way to make a knot is just by creating a loop like this, taking the end and pushing it through, almost like tying your shoes. Now I just created a double knot. I like making double knots because it holds the thread better against the fabric, so it's less likely to slip through when you're pulling the needle through. The next step is to thread your needle. You want to take the other end of your thread, the one that doesn't have a knot. You are going to then push that end through the eye of your needle, the little hole there. So you go straight through, and you want to have a little tail on the other end just like that. Now you can begin sewing your button. So you're going to take your piece of fabric and determine where you want the button. You are going to push your needle through from the back up to the front and pull the thread all the way up. See how that knot catches and it doesn't pull through. Now you're going to slip the button over the hole right over the needle and pull it down onto the fabric. Now this is where your toothpick comes into play. You're going to set the toothpick in between the 2 holes. Now you're going to take your needle, go over the toothpick, and pull it through to the back side, trying to keep a grip on the toothpick as you go, so it overlaps the toothpick. The next step is to push up from the bottom again through the hole and continue doing an up and down motion over the toothpick. The reason we have the toothpick is to make sure that the thread holding the button stays loose enough so that the button is not directly on the fabric, but it can still go through a buttonhole. An easy way to get your needle through the hole when coming up through the back is to actually flip over and look at where your threads are, and you can see where the other ones have gone, and you can push it right through the hole on top, just like that. So you're going to keep doing this motion. You also want to be wary of where your fingers are. Needles are very sharp and it pokes if you get hit by them, which is not very pleasant. So you want to make sure that your fingers are spaced enough apart and that they're not in the way of the needle when it comes through the back, like that. So you just want to be very conscious of where your fingers are at so that you don't injure yourself. So after you have gone around the toothpick about 10 to 12 times, you are ready to cast off on your button. So this time when you're going down, instead of going through both the button and the fabric, you're just going to go through the button like this and pull it through. This is where you can also take out your toothpick. And here you can see that it's still loose enough where this could fit through another piece of fabric into a buttonhole. Now you are going to create a shank. A shank just kind of anchors the button down and keeps it all in one. So to do this, you're going to take the thread that you just put through the button, you're going to wrap it around 5 times. Now you are going to go through the fabric and out the back, like that. And there you have put a shank in your button. Now you need to create the knot so that your button won't fall out. So here we're going to focus on the back of the fabric. To do this, you're going to slide your needle through the threads that went up and down. You're going to go through it and you're going to pull. But before you pull all the way, you want to leave a loop right there. And you are going to actually thread your needle through that loop and pull. This creates a sturdy knot in the back. You want to do that 2 more times so that you have a total of 3 knots in the back, just holding it in place. So you pull through, go through the loop, and pull. 1 more time should be good. Go through and through the loop. Now you have created a knot on the back so your button won't fall out. Now all that's left is to get rid of the tails. So you're going to take your small pair of scissors and snip off the tail from the knot side of the thread, and then the tail from the side where the thread was through the needle. And then you have a clean back. Now you have a 2-hole button sewn onto your piece of fabric that is still movable, so it can go through a buttonhole, and it is secured on the back with those knots. And that is how you sew a 2-hole button.